Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having and holding this hearing. In addition to being on the Aging Committee, gentlemen, I'm also on the Ag Committee. Let me tell you, the state of agriculture economy, it's in dire straits. We're in trouble. We've lost 150,000 farms, 25,000 farmers just in the last 5 years. Producers have lost over $40 billion in net farm income since 2022, and the current agricultural trade deficit has grown to $49 billion. Despite, in my state of Alabama, producers making bumper crops, they can't even break even, much less make a profit, due to the low commodity prices, high input costs, interest rates, and inflation. We can't keep this up. Can't do it. The only way we're going to help our farmers survive is to extend President Trump's tax cuts, increase reference prices, and hammer the heck out of foreign countries on tariffs. It is way out of control, way out of balance. We cannot continue this direction. It's concerning that 1/3 of our farmers are over their age 65. And this creates a significant workforce problem for our ag industry as young people are not entering farming. Mr. Duvall and Mr. Alderman, this labor problem increases the need for reforms in H-2A programs. Can you two speak of the struggles of keeping up with H-2A's adverse effect wage rate that is over $16 an hour in my state of Alabama, that is double the minimum wage? Can y'all address that, please?
Yes, sir, I can.
Thank you.
It costs me $22 to $24 an hour for my H-2A labor, okay? Minimum wage in Florida, I think, is $12.50. I'm from Florida, and with the rates going up higher next year, they're talking about going it up another $1. We still have to pay for their housing. We'd like some relief, at least we could get the housing back from the people, the H-2A workers that we're bringing in. But we spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars every year just for housing for the labor. Plus, we have to bring them in here, pay for their visas, pay for their ride here, their ride back. They're great labor. They're good. Without them, we couldn't harvest our crop. But we can't compete with the cheap prices of tomatoes coming from Mexico against us. They're undercut the price so cheap. We're talking, the tariff that we're talking about is not enough to make any difference. 20%, 17%, that's not enough to help it. They need a floor, at least what our minimum growing cost is, and then put a tariff above that. But try to protect the Florida farmers that a few that are left. And it's not only just in Florida, because at first it was just Mexico was coming after Florida tomato farmers right after NAFTA. Well, 20 years later, they're growing pepper and squash and corn and beans and every vegetable we grow all the way up the East Coast, all the way to Jersey and past. They're going to be competing with all of them, Mexico, with all those products. And their labor is, I don't know, what are they paying, $10 a day, and we're paying $25 an hour? There's got to be some help with the balance of trade. We don't want the government to give us anything, but get us on a level playing field with Mexico and Canada.
Thank you. Mr. Duvall, you want to add to that?
Yes, sir. First thing we need to do is for Congress to freeze the AWAR wage rate so that farmers don't have to take another increase, and give us time to work on this H-2A program so that we can make it a workable program for our employees and for the farmer there. The way we're going now with the wage rate going up, we're going to price ourselves out of farming. We're not going to be able to pay the wage rate and stay in the farming and provide those jobs. And it's got to be done. It's got to be done quickly. And then we got to work on creating an H-2A program, or a program that speaks to all of agriculture. All of agriculture is suffering for the lack of labor, and we need to have year-round workers that's not capped. We need to be able to control it, but we need to be able to fill those jobs, whether a small, medium, or large-sized farm, and we need to have those year-round workers in those areas like dairy and other places where the work never stops. And then, of course, the regulation that go along with those programs are just so burdensome. You heard him talk about the requirement of having housing, the liabilities that come along with that, and the difficulty it is for our farmers to continue to abide by all these regulations, because every regulation costs a lot of money to a farmer. And if we're going to continue to be able to compete with the world, we've got to be able to make sure that we have a workable program, bring reliable labor here so that we can get the job done. Why would a young farmer, how can a young farmer come back to the farm and bring his expertise that he learned in college, expand that farm without having a labor force to do it with? That's one of the biggest limiting factors we have. And that AWAR rate is set by a survey done through USDA that was created over 60 years ago to count employees, not to set a wage rate. The formula is totally unworkable, and we need to redo that formula and set a fair wage rate that encourages farmers to hire people and be able to still stay in business and treat those employees right.
Thank you, Senator Tuberville.
I got one question. Mr. Locker, we'll start with you. All of you can answer if you want your thoughts on this. As long as I've been up here, I've been advocating to permanently repeal the federal estate tax, which is often called the death tax. I know it means a lot to farmers. So, Mr. Locker, we'll start with you. Your thoughts.
Well, Senator, I think obviously you look at modern agriculture today, I mean, it is a massive investment, even small farms. I mean, if you add up all the assets. And so anytime that you want to pass that along to the next generation, comes at a significant cost and is in many cases cost prohibitive. And so, yeah, doing away with the death tax. And I think we get bottled in with other businesses, and it's couldn't be farther from the truth in terms of comparable. That when you're passing along a farm business, it comes with, like I said, a lot of cost, a lot of assets. It takes a lot to run a farm today, and so doing away with the death tax is the right thing to do to be able to continue to pass it down to the next generation. Otherwise, it becomes cost prohibitive.
Mr. Vaughn, you've got to.
It's absolutely one of the necessary things that we need to do. A farmer works all his life. I've spent my whole life buying back my farm. My daddy's had to sell part of it off. My whole life. And if we don't fix that problem, if we don't get rid of inheritance tax, other generations will have to sell the farm, and that farm will go out of production, and we will not enjoy the production from those farms. And it has to be done. It's just like people say, well, you got a lot of land, you got a lot of wealth. You have to have land to farm. It's just like having a tractor. It's just like having a car to go to work in every day, even if you're not farming. It's something you have to do that job. But show me a farmer that has a retirement plan. It's tied up in his land. It's tied up in his land. And when he retires, he's either got to sell his land or sell it to his children. And then if you pile inheritance tax on top of that, they have to sell part of the farm to be able to continue it. And it is one of the biggest devastating things that can happen to a family farm when you have a death and have to go through that difficult time.
Mr. Alderson.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's double taxation. It shouldn't be there. You've already paid the taxes once. Why are you going to just put somebody out of business or make them sell their business or their farm? It shouldn't be there. I agree with you. One other thing you might all think about, and this is not related to that, but somewhat. Years ago, and I'm not an accountant, not a CPA, I'm a farmer. We know a little bit of a lot of nothing, So some of the equipment I've been looking at, laser weeder, your AI stuff that's coming around, it's $1,400,000. I can't afford it. But what I'm wondering, years ago we had a rapid depreciation schedules where you could depreciate something real quickly and write it off quicker. Is that something that can be done? Maybe one of you professors know what it is now, but that would probably help some of the farmers out there to do some rapid depreciation on farm equipment.
Mr. Wolf, your thoughts on estate tax?
Yeah, well, so with the increasing size of commercial farms and with the average farmland value being $4,000, and there's a lot of places where the farmers would be real happy to be able to buy more land for $4,000 an acre. So that average is hiding a lot of much higher prices in some places. Certainly, there's an increasing number of farms that are running up against the potential to lose some of the value in an estate tax. And as the other witnesses have said, you know, you can't give up the land usually and still be a viable farm, right? This is not the same as, it's not liquid. If you sell it, it's gone. And so that highlights the need to do the farm business succession and estate planning. And if you don't do that, which is, you know, it's pretty easy to forget that, and nobody likes to do, by the way, estate planning, right? It's not fun. We all need to do it, but that's kind of admitting that, you know, you're gonna have to have that at some point. So that's not fun to do. But certainly, it's different for farm businesses because they're small and medium-sized, family-owned, closely held businesses. So it's fundamentally different than other types of businesses.